Hey, today we're here to talk about Hypervibe with Jason Williams. And Jason, you're in Baltimore, and it's a pleasure
Yes.
to have you here today. And I really appreciate your investment of time. So, yeah, love to hear a little bit more about you and what it is you do and your background.
Yeah. Thanks, Doug. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Yeah. So Jason Williams from Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah. So I started up kind of my fitness journey. My background's in sports medicine, so I went to Lynchburg College in Virginia. Ran track there for 4 years, and then after kind of like every other college student, you get done school, you kind of don't know what you want to do yet. So I just kind of joined the gym. That was in my local home in actually Bel Air, Maryland. And my friend was like, "Hey, you ever thought about training?" I was like, "No, but definitely interested in that because that's kind of the field I want to do." I always thought I was going to be in like more like a sports conditioning coach or something like that, or some type of physical therapy. But went into training, loved it from day one. Got certified as a trainer. So there, which is when you're in a big box gym, you kind of have all the toys and everything, and so that was great for. I was there for maybe 2002 to 2000, end of 2007. So just trained there, did Group X. That's where I got kind of like certified in Pilates, mat. And Pilates mat is where I really learned like the longevity of like kind of fitness, right? So this kind of like I want to be able to move and do things as I get older without being hurt, injured, or not have mobility to do it, right? So that's what really drew me to the Pilates aspect. Moving kind of down the line, then one of my friends moved to Baltimore City, started a gym. That was kind of a little bit more along the lines of alignment, Pilates, and it was right kind of up my alley as I was kind of making my evolution with training. I got more into like foam rolling, the myofascial stuff, and then moved downtown, started working there with some pretty smart trainers, and kind of did the whole Pilates alignment, fascia system type thing there for a while. Then went back to a gym in 2011 because it was, again, the energy of a gym is way different than a private studio, right? There's where I got more into reformer, got into bar there, and then just continued training. And then eventually 2016, left the gym and kind of started my own thing. So, and that's kind of where I'm at today, solo. And it's nice to kind of have the freedom and flexibility to be creative and kind of partner up with people I want to partner up with. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Wow, I really appreciate you sharing that, and especially the part about the journey of having been a competitive athlete in college. And I
Uh-huh.
can relate to that. I've done competitive Muay Thai kickboxing and other sports that I was always involved with. And especially as we're younger, oftentimes the mind or our egos want to focus more on strength and how we look
Mm-hmm.
and more of the physique and that type of the aesthetic piece of personal training. And then as we get older, we start to recognize the importance of longevity and quality of life. And it's great to see
Yeah.
you recognize that early on and your passions around that, because that's a huge part of being able to have a longer quality of life. That's better, that we can have movement without pain and that type of thing. So it's great to hear that you had that progression, and then going from the bigger box gyms to more of the smaller environments,
Mm-hmm.
getting into some of these different modalities, all the way to having more of an independent practice. And then again, now the world that we're living in, with so many of the changes going around, where a lot of people are actually wanting to move into more of a home environment or something more virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that is very natural. And regardless of what we're being presented with in terms of availability to go to gyms, we can always find ways to work out at home. We can always find ways to do things
Yeah.
virtually, but making sure that we have that expert guidance and knowing what to do and how to create that plan for a longevity of life is really important.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean that's life, right? It's kind of be able to foreshadow and foresee, right,
Yeah.
what's going on. And I got lucky enough to realize, like, yeah, I want to move when I'm older, right? So at that younger age, I was like, I need something that, just in case, doesn't mean I don't run or I don't do athletic things, and I still like to play soccer, basketball, all that stuff. But I want to be able to, like, not hurt doing it, and also for my job, I need to be able to move, so. That's why for me Pilates was awesome, and yoga and all that stuff. So yeah, so I just think in the world we're in, you have to not be rigid. You have to be able to change kind of what's going on.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So with these different modalities, and I love the myofascial, and that type of thing as well, because that's such an important piece. How how did you move along that path to get into this? What inspired you to begin with to first become aware of the importance of these other modalities outside of just the traditional strength type of training or personal training?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I first started training, it just became, I was like very much an observer of like other trainers and other, I guess modalities, you could say that. And I kind of took pieces from everything a little bit. And again, as a trainer, I think one, you have to always educate yourself, right? So you have to always stay kind of, and it keeps your passion. It keeps you wanting to learn more, to share more with your clients. So for me, that's kind of what always made me kind of want to keep doing the training thing and learn about other modalities. It's what got me into Pilates. It's what got me into yoga. It's what got me into doing TRX and things like that, because you're just like, wow, that's a cool way. I never thought about that. Yeah. And how it's, you know, all functional everyday movements, and then also how it can affect your performance in another aspect of your life or whatever. So it's nice to always have that transition.
It makes a lot of sense. And, you know, I've studied martial arts for a number of years. And one of the philosophies, because it's not a martial art, people confuse this, but Jeet Kune Do, which is Bruce Lee's art. And it's more of a philosophy, but one of the things he used to say is, go study everything, all the different modalities there are. Absorb what's useful for you, leave the rest aside, and then add what is uniquely your own.
Yep.
Add what's uniquely your own. And so that's what's so great about being able to be open-minded and look and observe and see these different approaches, these different modalities to wellness and wholeness with our body. And that's a big piece of that. So that's a good segue. And one of the things I'm curious about, as you were studying these different modalities, how did you first hear about whole body vibration? And when did you start using that?
Yeah, so it's funny, like for me, just in my journey in life, I've kind of always kind of stumbled on things like a little bit, I won't say necessarily early, but like right at the right time, right? I'm a big believer in timing, and things happen in the right timing. So for me, it was, I mean, honestly, Instagram, right? So Bree reached out to me and was like, hey, you know, I like your Instagram. Do you ever think about, you know, whole body training and the Hypervibe and I've played with other kind of whole body variation, you know, tools, you know, such as power plate and all those guys, but never knew much about it. But you know, it seemed cool. It made sense. And then she shipped me one, and she's like, "Here, try it out. You know, let me know what you think. We'll do a training eventually." And I was like, "All right, cool, got it." And it was awesome. You know, so as soon as I got on it and I saw the benefits of just like being able to change the vibrations and the frequencies, and to kind of what you want to do in terms of like your goals and in terms of your training, right? So if you want more balance or flexibility, or want to boost that metabolic rate, that was what was really cool. Or if you just want to recover and feel good, I like that's kind of like all in one, the whole body training or whole vibration training. So yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it, and you know, haven't looked back since, you know, getting into it.
Yeah, that's great. And, you know, it's one of the things for me, I always share the story that I had L5-S1 microdiscectomy. I had a 16 millimeter extrusion. So I had significant damage to my S1 nerve, which is the nerve that connects from the spine down to your left leg. And my calf, I mean, I couldn't even straighten my leg. And then after the surgery, my calf wouldn't fire. I couldn't lift my heel off the ground. I'm at my stand-up desk right now, and I wasn't able to lift my heel off the ground because of the damage to the nerve. And so it started to atrophy. And the whole body Hypervibe was one of the most integral pieces of my recovery. And when my surgeon told me, he said, "Doug, you may never get the use of your calf again," internally I said, "Game on, and I'm going to prove this wrong." So, you know, and that was a huge part of it for me. But that ability to be able to stimulate these muscles, to activate the connection with the brain and all of that was a significant piece for me. And you're absolutely right. Beyond just the injury recovery piece, there's so many different uses, whether someone just wants greater balance, elderly that have challenges with their balance and standing up, people that want something to have as a pre-workout or a post-workout for a warm-up or cool-down. It's the ultimate experience, because you're getting nearly 99% of all the muscle fibers in your body that are being activated, which is stimulating blood circulation, oxygen into your blood. And so the body will always heal itself. But the biggest challenge is giving it the right oxygen and circulation for it to be able to do that.
Yep,
And,
for sure.
and then after a workout, you can get that lactic acid buildup. And without releasing that, it takes a lot longer to recover from exercise. So that's one of the things that's so great about using the Hypervibe post-workout. So
Yeah.
that's great to hear. I'm curious, so you've been using it for yourself. What are things you've noticed for your own self as a result of using it?
Yeah, so I use it for a few different ways. I love doing, I use it as a warm up mostly. So I'll usually before another workout or before I run or something like that, which has been great. I've done some pretty cool things as far as, especially if you're a runner and you get on the Hypervibe, and you do maybe even a 5 to 10 minute warm up, you'll notice your stride and your foot plant will definitely be different. It's almost like it's so warmed up and there's muscle fiber, especially in the lower leg and the calf and stuff like that. If it'll give you a little bit more of that muscle energy and endurance to kind of like keep that form because of the vibration that it's getting, not only just like through your legs, but up to your lower back and then your arms, and then especially if you do a lot of arm stuff on it. So a lot of that core work with your hands and up to your shoulders, it does help you with that form and that gait. So I love it for that. Lower back pain for sure definitely is diminished since using it. And I'll even use it just for meditation. So I'll sit on it and then I'll sit back, relax, and it kind of puts you in another frequency almost, to say. So you can kind of like really focus on that present moment awareness because you're feeling the vibration, and you don't have to have a high setting on it. You can have it on like a 5 or 6 or 7, and you're just like sitting there and you're just feeling that vibration. You can feel like your lower back like loosen up. You can feel the base of the spine kind of loosen up, and all the way up for your posture, right? So and helping your breathing and things like that. So it's really kind of a good all-encompassing tool, right? So and it's, again, you have no endless amount we can do with it. So that's why for me, I love it.
Yeah, that makes complete sense what you shared about the meditation piece too, and sitting on the machine. I think a lot of people don't think about that as an exercise that you can do, but a lot of people do this. I had a top physical therapist that said that they even use it for women with bladder incontinence and also for men to stimulate blood circulation down in the lower part of the body, that they want to have access to that stimulation on a higher level. Really well for that because of that, those frequencies. And I can definitely see that for meditation. I'm definitely going to try that out for myself.
Yeah, you should. It's great.
I have a consistent meditation practice, and I can see, because part of that is it's this whole mind-body connection where you're getting in touch with your body and your mind. And by sitting on there and having that low frequency, noticing the subtle fluctuations and how you're responding, great idea. I'm going to try it, I promise. That's really cool.
Yeah, let me know how you like it.
Yeah, I definitely will. And then post-workout, you actually use it on workout too, like squats, upper body, anything like that as well?
Yeah, I'll do it kind of like with some interval work. So sometimes I'll do maybe some TRX, hop back on the Hypervibe with some either some isometric holds or some balance stuff, some lunges, or I'll go do some band work, come back. So I'll use it as some intervals to kind of mix things up and keep the heart rate up a little bit too as well. Do a little bit of plyometrics on there, maybe some some jump squats, some 90-degree squats, some 180 jump squats. So things like that to kind of like keep the heart rate up, which is awesome too. So yeah,
that's great. Yeah, and another thing too is with our Sentient lifestyle for so many people. And again, I'm at a stand-up desk right now, and that was one of the first investments that my surgeon told me to have for myself. Is that even if I'm standing or sitting, which so many people do for extended periods of time, our bodies start to just cool down and we're losing that circulation. So me, one of my favorite practices is just getting on that Hypervibe, even for 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And in that amount of time, it stimulates all of these endorphins, get your blood circulating. It's like literally a cup of coffee in terms of just that extra energy boost. And then I get to come back to work and I'm more tuned in and focused on my work. It's because I did that every few hours, and it doesn't take long at all. And you can do it without breaking a sweat, which is great.
Yeah. Whatever you want it to do for you, it'll essentially do. Right.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Yeah.
And now, have you had an opportunity to have some of your clients get on it as well?
I haven't had one who doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty cool. So, even new people I put on there, they're like, "This thing's awesome." I mean, they all they're like, I've had people say, I need to get one of these,
Yeah.
because it's so, like, especially like the platform is such, it's a good, it doesn't take up a lot of space.
Yep.
And they're like, man, this is my lower back. They're just standing on here. It feels so good.
Yeah.
And so I use the same thing with clients. I use it as a warm up, cool down. We'll do some workouts on it. Same thing with interval training. It's great. They love it. I got like kind of like fortunate to get hooked up with these guys in terms of like, because it's not around Baltimore. There's not a lot of places that have any vibration type training. So
yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people don't know about the benefits of it. It's newer in terms of society, and then the more one starts to really do the research and understand, the benefits, the spectrum of benefits are so amazing. And when you look at an investment of what you can have in terms of different types of equipment, whether it's like a recumbent bike or type of thing, TRX definitely is a great mainstay for your house. Like that's of something because it's so good, great on your joints, and you have all of that. But beyond that, and in addition to that, a Hypervibe is just such a great thing because of all you can do. And to your point, if it's proprioception and balance, if it's just flexibility, and I don't know if that's something you've done too as far as stretches on the Hypervibe as well.
Yeah, stretches. Also great for myofascial release, right? So I'll do just hamstring, quads, low back, and just kind of like, in obviously the certain positions, like either, just placing your hamstring across it and just kind of sitting there and then doing your stretches. Great for myofascial release. So if you have any like IT band stuff, calves, all that stuff, it's great for all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So any other stories or things perspectives that you have to share in terms of just experiences that you've had with Hypervibe that you want to share with anyone that's watching right now?
I teach meditation and Reiki as well. So what I'll do with some clients is like, I use kind of meditation and Reiki is like, at the end of workouts is like kind of like they drop the cortisol levels.
Yep.
So I'll use that kind of encompass with the Hypervibe. So one of my clients will go through like a Pilates workout, and I'll put them on the Hypervibe seated as a meditation practice, and I'll lead them through a guided meditation. And they walk out of there feeling like $1 million. And it's kind of almost like they never even did a workout, because they get up and they're like, I feel so good right now. Like, yes, I got the sweat, I got my heart rate up, and now I feel like, your stress levels are down.
Yeah.
Right. And what's the cause of most diseases? Stress.
Yeah.
Right. So, and if you can do that, if you can, figure out a way to kind of drop those levels of people's like stress hormones, especially at the end of workouts, they like all of them love it. Like they're like, I just want to come stand on it. And they just like want to use it just for like their own purposes, right? So like even like I'll tell them go up and just warm up on the Hypervibe, before our next session, or I'll leave them on it cooling down, and then they're just like, man, I just needed that. And it's crazy too because it's also a mind shifter. Yeah. So I've had clients come in just not in the right frame of mind, and I put them on there, and then next thing you know, they went from like maybe feeling a little down or a little bit not energized to like up.
Yep.
And they're like, man, all of a sudden I'm back. So it's pretty cool, like how it does shift your mindset a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely does. I noticed that for myself as well. And again, even if I'm going to go into a business meeting or an important call, it's like that extra little edge that I can get. And I think we can all relate to that. Any of us that have been active in sports or any type of exercises, when you're training, there is that extra heightened state of awareness and focus you have. And that's really another version of meditation in a way. It's really about being present in the moment and being clear, so we can access those states with different tools, and meditation being one of them. And I'm definitely a believer in that for myself. And something like Hypervibe can help to induce that state. And it makes complete sense because we're getting that stimulation going on, which also helps to quiet down all of the clutter that we can oftentimes have in our mind. And it really invites us to be in that state of presence.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally it. And that's what, in terms of meditation and with Hypervibe, it's not only the effects during, but it's more the effects after and outside of it. Right. Yeah. So like how you do perform, how you run, how you walk, how you get up out of the chair, how you play with your kids, like all that stuff is going to affect that consciousness, right? Of of just being when you have a tool like that, right? That can kind of bring you to that present moment, but also have all these other effects for your body, right? Not only just bringing present moment awareness, but yes, it's inflammation reducing, right? Lymphatic drainage, all that stuff. Lower back's gonna feel better, So if you can get all that in one, why not? Why not do it, right?
Yeah, that's great, Jason. So, and I'm curious now too, in this environment for yourself, and obviously our world's shifted, as a result, things going on, and being concerned about a pandemic type of an environment. And we've got oftentimes either businesses either being closed or people not having as much access to a physical gym environment. How does that work for you with your training? I understand you have clients pretty much all over the country, and you work with people remotely. So how does that work for you?
I mean, it's the great thing about this kind of pandemic is that it did force a lot of people to go online, force me to go online more, to create content. And not only just for content for the moment, but for the future, right? So it kind of opened this whole new world of creation, right? So this is the time of where creating is going to be huge and crucial. And it can be creation for not just your mental health, but your physical health, right? So now it's like I have clients like who I haven't trained in years come back and say, hey, let's just keep this Zoom FaceTime thing going, and to find out man, I was sore yesterday from my workout on FaceTime. I'm like, oh, you're sore? All right. And again, not that that's an indicator of your fitness or wellness, but it's great that you can give them the same type of workout via screen, right? So it is an access tool. It is another tool, right? You are the same trainer you are in person as you are on FaceTime or Zoom or Google Meets or whatever you are or whatever you use. For me, I think you have to stay, again, that forward thinking, right? We mentioned that earlier. If you can stay ahead of it, you're just planning for the future, right? You're just planning for fall and the winter in 2001 or 2021. So you'll be ahead of the game, so it's, this is the time to do that and to have the freedom to do it.
Coming from this too, one of the best things we can ever possibly invest in is our own health. The better health we're in, the stronger our immune system is, which is going to help us navigate through any environment. It also helps to your point, reduce stress. And we're all being exposed to stresses right now. In terms of just our external environment within our societal structures as a whole, and what are things we can do to release stress, to tune that out, and then also our immune system. It is finding a way to be able to exercise and prolong our quality and longevity of life. And that's one of the best things we possibly can do. And of course, certainly nutrition is a big piece of that as well. And that's, of course, another pillar. And so for those people that are oftentimes accustomed to going to gym memberships, may not have access to that anymore as much as they did before, or feel comfortable going back to a gym environment just because of the sanitary type of reasons and how clean the environment might be. Setting oneself up with a home gym environment is one of the best investments you could possibly make, and I'm sure you would agree with that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've had one of my good friends is a trainer at a big box gym, and he went back 2 weeks ago and he said, Jason, it's quiet.
Yeah.
It's not as busy as he thought it would be, and I told him that I was like, even if the gym's open tomorrow, you got to expect at least maybe 5 weeks for people to really think about going back.
Yeah.
Because people are in their routine for 2 months now, 2 to 3 months. So their routine of their Zoom workouts or home workouts, they're building their home gyms. They're buying all the toys and gadgets because this is the time to do it, right? And it's going to set them up. So you have to kind of start moving in that direction because it's going to be the future. As we were talking kind of earlier, like it's like life is going to change after this, right? So and you have to change with it. Yeah. So it's a very interesting time, but I think like eventually some good is going to happen more often than not. It's just you have to kind of be a little bit more patient and wait to see that. So but I think it's going to be great.
Well, and I think it's great. It's great knowing that there's people like you out there that are helping others that are to navigate through this time. And again, there's different components. One is just making sure your mindset's right. Two is making sure that you can be equipped with the right nutrition, and then finding whatever you possibly can to do exercise in a virtual or home environment. and then having an expert like yourself that can help work with people, do live video interactions and guide people through to make sure that they're doing it with proper form and they have the right accountability, and getting people set up to win, because each person's body is different and
Yep.
we have different challenges, whether it's pain, whatever our respective goals might be, in
Yep.
terms of what it is we really are looking to accomplish. That's the most important priority, and then what we actually just prefer and like. And one of the things I love about the Hypervibe is that it can be one of those pillars of a home workout equipment that you have.
Yep.
And it's interesting. I had another trainer a while back that shared with me their perspective with Hypervibe too. It's almost like being a workout partner, if you will, because sometimes the most challenging part about exercising is getting started.
Yeah, yeah,
Once
for
you
sure.
get started, then you're
It's not,
and then you're going. And
right.
what's great about the Hypervibe is literally all you got to do is show up.
Yep.
When you turn that thing on and it starts to move, it's almost like this partner that's like pushing you, and then it activates you. So it's almost like getting the engine going. And then of course you still do the work, but it's helping to meet you there, so you're not having to do all of it yourself. And again, of course, there's other exercises, and I love things like TRX or calisthenics, which are great. But it's a great thing to get that kick started for you.
Well, and it feels so good too to be on that thing. So you get on it and you're like, oh yeah, no, this feels good.
Yeah.
Like whereas like some things you might be like, yeah, I don't really want to do, the Bosu ball. Like, so you're like, okay, but I'll just go stand on the Hypervibe.
Yep.
Because it feels good, like, and that might be enough to jumpstart.
Yep.
Like, like, whereas like everything else, you have to kind of get a little more active. It is like a workout partner for you, because it's like, okay, it literally will jumpstart you. You get on it, you're getting jump started. You're like, oh, I'm starting to feel better. Okay, let's get it going now.
Yeah.
Let's do something. Like, so that's even for me. That's part of it. We all have those times you're like, man, I don't feel like doing this today.
Yeah.
And then you just go, I'm like, well, let me just turn the Hypervibe on, get on there, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do something. Even if you like, it's a rest day, you might do a little more stretching or a little more movement than you normally would do, because it makes you feel good. So
can definitely relate. Well, I appreciate your investment of time today, Jason, and want to make sure we'll have the link for all of your contact information here below within this video, and then also on the link to the website as well, so people can find out a little bit more about you. They can. I love watching some of your videos. I had a chance to look at some of those before we got on today, and it was just really cool. And I want to try some of these things out that you've done. So just really, really great content that you put out there, and appreciate you doing what you do and being able to shine that light that you have into other people's lives to have a positive impact and ripple effect on their health and longevity of life.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I thank Hypervibe for being super supportive, and it's been a game changer. So look me up if you guys ever need anything. Shoot me an email, Instagram, Charm City PT, all that fun stuff. And it's been great, man. Appreciate it.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.